Welcome to Clonenberg's Corner. Today we look at Rage, a very scary game that explores the terrible atrocities done to mutant kind by a home invader who terrorizes the neighborhood in a big scary car. Throughout Rage, the invader murders entire family trees of mutants and robs them of their possessions. The robber even attacks a mutant playground, a mutant spelunking club, and a mutant prosthetics hospital during his genocidal rampage.
Clonenberg, what are you doing here?
I am telling the story of Rage and standing up for all of mutant kind.
Look, dude, I appreciate your passion, but two-headed hero ain't about political grandstanding.
We will not be silent.
Shoot. Go away.
Mutants first.
Go away.
Human's worst.
Welcome to Backlog Quest, where we wind our way through digital wastelands in search of worthy games. My name is Bawss Sawss, and today we revisit id Software's apocalyptic anomaly, Rage. I'm a longtime fan of id Software's work. Even before their famous blood-soaked shooter, Doom, chainsawed its way to the top of PC gaming in 1993, id was releasing fast and fun platformers that rivaled its console counterparts. After a long string of hits, id seemed to lose its way in the mid-2000s. Doom 3 was met with only a lukewarm response due to its slower action, plotting story, and horror elements.
The board doesn't know the first thing about science. All they want is something to make them more money, some product. Don't worry.
Rage, the subject of today's retrospective, also came across as a mixed bag. Other, more recent missteps like the mishandling of Quake Champions only served to further disappoint die-hard fans. Even so, id was far from out of the fight. Doom 2016 was widely hailed as a return to form. The announcement that id Software would be co-developing Rage 2 alongside Avalanche Studios came as a surprise. Avalanche is famed for the open-world explosion fest Just Cause 3 and also developed 2015's criminally underrated Mad Max. Teaming up to make an adrenaline-filled wasteland shooter that features road-ripping vehicle combat seems like a perfect fit. The hyper-violent neon fever dream Rage 2 releases right around the corner, and Doom Eternal's Hell on Earth looms in the background. So what better time to revisit Rage, the 2011 drivey shooty crafty hybrid game from the masterminds of Shooter Mayhem. What is Rage? How did it succeed? And where did it fail? These are questions with no simple answers. Well, there's a co-op mode, which is completely dead and buried behind a few menus. There's also a multiplayer vehicle combat mode, which is equally dead. So today, we'll be concentrating on the main meat of the game, the campaign. Rage takes place long after an asteroid devastates most life on Earth. Eden Project, a last-ditch effort to save humanity, was created by the US government shortly before the meteor strike. Volunteers were frozen and buried in techno-sarcophagi known as arcs, so they can awaken a century later to rebuild civilization after the dust settles. Naturally, this does not go according to plan. Players slip into the arc suit of Lieutenant Nicholas Rain, former US Marine and Eden Project volunteer. After a rude awakening in an ark filled with the corpses of other volunteers, Rain is immediately attacked by bandits. From here, Rage begins proper. find it kind of hard to believe that Rage won some commendation awards for graphics. The character models and effects all look okay for a 2011 game, but some of the environments look like dookie. And that's not just because of the abundance of brown either. Get close up to a wall and it looks like Minecraft is about to ask where its missing blocks went. Fortunately, I stumbled across some fixes for the PC version that made a massive difference.
Tried sequencer online. Release cryogenic chamber seals. Internal architecture nominal. Rebooting internal data systems. Initiate. Nanotrite sequencer online. Release cryogenic chamber seals. Internal architecture nominal. Rebooting internal data systems.
Much better.
If you plan on playing Rage, I'd recommend taking the time to tweak the game. Sound design is standout here. There's a few sounds that seem unbalanced, like engine noises, or the absolutely terrible pistol sound. But the other sounds are mostly excellent. During the firefights, enemies will shout orders and call out your position while you drown them out with the metallic clap of your assault rifle.
Go, go, go! Push him out! Frag out!
Each battle crescendos as the epic film score kicks up the adrenaline into high gear. It's pretty clear that the user interface was designed with a lot of console considerations in mind. The menu systems confirm my suspicions and they are not handled particularly well. Switching between weapons and ammo types seems designed around a controller. Something like a radial menu with all of your stuff, like in Dishonored or Doom 2016, might have worked wonders. As it stands, assigning items and weapons and being limited to 4 slots for each just feels clunky. Despite these shortcomings, Rage makes up for its wonky walls and unusual user interface with great character animation, lip syncing, weapon effects, lighting, and design. Character designs here are superb. Rage seems to have pulled scenes straight out of the Mad Max films, injecting them with its signature futuristic fusion of flesh and machine before cramming them inside the game. Who wore it better, Furiosa or this lady here? Each citizen of the settlements has a unique design and all have at least a couple of voice lines. And the voice acting here is real quality stuff. Industry veterans like Paul Eiding, Claudia Black, and John Goodman all contribute performances.
You don't even know the authority yet. Well, I guess you don't know anything about any of this. Welcome to the future.
There's a decent amount of cutscenes that advance the story, but the writing itself is pretty lean and the plot lacks good pacing. Your silent protagonist is railroaded into a standard freedom fighter plot against a faceless oppressor called the Authority. Before you get to all that, every down on his luck settler will get in your way, sometimes physically, until you agree to take care of their dirty laundry. Apparently the Authority is a technologically superior group of ARC traitors, and it's up to your scrappy survivor to help the lazily named Resistance take them down and bring equality to the wasteland. Yeah, real imaginative work here, guys. It's the stuff of a high schooler's creative writing notebook. Battling the Wasteland's enemy factions is definitely satisfying, and it's here that we see Rage show off the old id Software magic. The sudden directional change of an enemy that gets impaled by a wing stick is really satisfying. Just look at this jetpack guy fly out of control before he crashes and burns. It's great. Dismemberments are chunky, explosions often leave nothing but a red mist, headshots are brutal, and blood spills by the bucketful. It's signature id Software. The AI, on the other hand, isn't super smart, but it's clever enough to retreat and employ cover, or rush and flank, and even lead you into crossfires or flush you out with grenades. The arsenal at your disposal is enormous, and the gunplay feels good. There's only about 10 guns in total, but most of them have alternative ammunition types. I have to emphasize here that I really love this approach. Rage's lowly pistol can launch powerful salvo bursts or magnum rounds. Crossbow bolts have a variety of payloads including dynamite and mind control poison, and the shotgun can also chuck grenades or fire pulse blasts. The Scorcher's DLC adds a nail gun with 3 more ammo types to the already crowded arsenal. And of course, what would an id game be without a BFG?
I think I heard something. Searching. I was driving that thing!
Rage also supplements the beefy guns with some fun toys to toss around during its many firefights, such as auto turrets or grenades. The best of these is the wing stick, a silent but deadly homing boomerang that can lop off limbs or stick into skulls before returning to your hand. These items can all be made with the game's simple crafting mechanics, which means that scavenging for parts and recipes can really pay off. It's kind of a shame that you can't take any of the bandits' perfectly good guns, though. I always wonder about games where I can't take the dead guy's gun. What's wrong with their gun? It was clearly just firing bullets in my direction, so I know it works. Why can't I have that gun? No, heroes can only take the special guns that get handed to them on a silver platter. It's bullshit. Let me take the damn gun. The carry limit for ammo and items is extremely high, and items are fairly cheap. By the mid-game, I was sitting on a backstock of bandages, thousands of rounds of ammo, and like 50 wing sticks. This might be a bit of a balance issue, but I actually found that the near-limitless inventory space made the game more fun. Rage throws a lot of swarms your way, so stockpiling your favorite stuff makes it possible to power through with your preferred weapons, instead of having to constantly swap your arsenal in and out with the clunky selection menus. Rage has some great gunplay, but it's not entirely perfect. Enemies are damage sponges, and sometimes it can take multiple headshots or entire magazines of assault rifle ammo to bring down a single bandit. It also often feels like there's only about half a dozen enemy types. Even though the enemy factions and mutants all look vastly different—
Somebody say mutants?
Yeah, even though the enemy factions and mutants all look vastly different, many of the rank-and-file enemies are functionally similar. This can often give Rage a been-there-done-that kind of feeling as you enter the game's final chapters. Rage has some just plain weird gameplay design choices. Decades in the deep freeze must do a real number on the lungs, since your ARC survivor kind of handles like an obese man with asthma. I hope you didn't expect too much of a sense of mobility, since your super soldier has a 6-inch jump height and runs out of breath after a 20-yard sprint. There's a Call of Duty style regenerating health mechanic that seems out of place, and this is explained in the game basically as, well, you got blood robots, son.
You got all those little computers racing around inside you.
Okay, well, I can accept that. Now there's also a defibrillator minigame that allows you to come back to life if you get taken out. So it's a little more forgiving if you trip on your own grenade, I get it. And it's on a timer, so you can't just keep coming back to life like Groundhog Day. That's fair enough. But wait, you can also craft and use healing items. Rage, buddy, why are you trying to have it both ways? Just pick regenerating health, or don't, and stick with it. This seems like it might be another concession to console gamers in the COD-dominated landscape of Rage's release year. Or it could be an attempt to band-aid the sparse autosave system. From the beginning, Rage advises players to save early and save often, and this is pretty good advice considering no amount of blood robots or bandages will save you if your car explodes. Rage marketed heavily on its marriage of corridor shooting and combat driving, which sounds awesome, in theory. It's too bad that the vehicles are just largely a way to get from one mission to another. A lot of work was put into vehicle combat, there's car customization, and a pretty hefty amount of race events, but they're all almost entirely optional. Only a couple of the main campaign missions require a specific car, and I found the races to be extremely easy. You can also play FedEx driver if you really want to, but there's just not a whole lot to do or explore when you're behind the wheel since the world of Rage is relatively small. A few issues also arise with how vehicles handle. Every car in Rage seems to have concrete tires and weigh 30 tons because it's really hard to catch air. Steering can feel a little sluggish and unresponsive at times, and getting stuck on a highway section caused more than one death at the hands of bandit missiles. This kind of makes me wish id would have ditched the vehicles and minigames altogether and concentrated on adding more shooter sections instead. Oh, that's right. There's minigames.
Care to wager on a little game?
Whether you want to lose a finger at the knife game, throw cards in Rage Frenzy, play hologram Tupac dice, or out-banjo a one-legged man, Rage has got a lot of diversions. Players can earn some cash with these, even though money's already easy to get by selling off junk found in the levels. The minigames are all competent enough, but like the driving segments, these only serve as marginally fun and entirely unnecessary distractions from the main campaign. It's kind of a shame that the campaign in Rage is so short. The shooter segments are by and large enjoyable, the world building and designs are really stylish. The plot, though, seems really rushed, and the characters lack development. There's also the occasional bugs, but nothing broke the game for us. The worst offense Rage commits has to be the ending. It's one of the most unsatisfying finales that I've ever played. The Scorchers DLC has a way more fulfilling arc and culminates in a big boss battle. And in comparison, the main campaign ends without warning after a wave defense section, plays a cutscene, and drops you into the main menu. Even when you consider all the shortcomings Rage features, I still had a pretty good time with it overall. It's a bit rough, and it feels like about 3/4 of a finished product, but it's also nice to see id trying something outside their comfort zone. Would I recommend it? Well, I'll put it this way. If you want to play an enjoyable shooter and don't mind delivering the occasional FedEx package in the downtime, Rage might be for you. If you're looking for something that also satisfies the car combat itch, then maybe Rage 2 can deliver on the promises the first game couldn't. Well, thanks for watching Backlog Quest. Have you played Rage? Did you like it? Or hate it? Are you looking forward to Rage 2? Why or why not? Drop us a comment below, you lovelies. This week, our heart goes out to John Goodman, who has fallen on some hard times and now has to live within the last remaining dedicated server for Rage. It's a sad day when celebrities fall from grace, doomed to repeat the same repetitive dialogue over and over in a never-ending cycle. Two-Headed Hero firmly believes in charitable causes, so why not give us the gift of your like and subscribe? We'll use this to further create awareness so that John Goodmans of the future don't have to suffer this same terrible fate. And don't forget to share this video far and wide. The world must know about this tragedy.
Welcome to the future.
Once again, my name is Bawss Sawss, and we'll see you on the next Backlog Quest.